Story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is a story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
This is CoreTV News on the Hour with Nifemi Oguntoye. The suspected suicide bomber was arrested by security officials close to the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, on Monday. The presence of the young man who was disabled threw the airport into confusion as people scampered for safety following the incident. He was arrested for allegedly planning to bomb the Centrex unit of the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency along the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. CoreTV News learned the suspect was arrested by security operatives as he attempted to detonate the explosive device he wore around his body. His movements were said to have attracted the attention of security operatives, who immediately picked him up. The Commissioner of Police Airport Command, Wahid Salahu, declined comment on the development, saying that it would be too premature to talk with journalists at the moment. President Goodluck Jonathan on Monday met with the country's defense and security chiefs at the presidential villa. The meeting was a closed-door session that had all service chiefs and heads of security agencies. Also at the meeting were the ministers of defense, police affairs, interior and foreign affairs. No statement was issued after the meeting, and none of the security and defense chiefs agreed to speak with the media. Presidency sources said the main agenda of the meeting was the ongoing war against insurgency in the country. The number of persons displaced by insurgency in northeast Nigeria is now more than 600,000. The National Commission for Refugees and Internally Displaced Persons disclosed this at a press briefing ahead of the 2014 World Humanitarian Day celebration. Federal Commissioner Hadisa Kangiwa says efforts are in place to ensure that relief support and other humanitarian services are made available to internally displaced persons.
We are still making efforts to see how we could establish our presence in the field so that we are closer to the people that we are supposed to help. You know, the refugee problem is a problem globally. The IDP phenomenon has increased more than ever in the country, and we do have migration. Migration is an issue. It's an issue that it's evolving more and more. We have people who are forced to migrate. We have people who, are migrating for survival.
The Nigeria's health authorities have announced that 4 additional Ebola patients have been cleared to go home from the Lagos Treatment Center. This brings to 5 the number of Ebola-positive Nigerians that have been discharged from quarantine. Lagos State Commissioner of Health, Jide Idris, announced that the 4 individuals who were down with the virus disease are now disease-free and have been discharged.
You have to be symptoms-free for at least 3 days. And that's how that last one was discharged. That's really why he was discharged. Now we have 4 more today that were ready for discharge based on the same protocol. That is, they've been symptoms-free for at least 3 days, and they've had their blood checked. They have now tested negative for Ebola virus.
The United Nations has launched a supplementary appeal for $18 million in its fight against the Ebola virus in Sierra Leone. The representative of the United Nations in Sierra Leone, David McLachlan, who addressed a joint conference with the Sierra Leone Health Minister, Miata Kagbo, and an Ebola survivor, say it's the supplement funds already raised for the fight against the virus in the country.
This morning, the United Nations issued a supplemental emergency response appeal for the Ebola situation in Sierra Leone. The appeal total is $18.13 million.
We need the 18 million funds. We need it to come to address issues like contact tracing, address issues of case management and treatment centers, address issue of food supplement for isolated districts and also quarantine homes. Patient that escaped from Connaught Hospital actually has been identified and captured, and that patient has been conveyed to the treatment center in Kenema. He was Ebola positive.
The sack of governors by the federal government has not ceased to generate reactions. The dismissal was unanimously condemned by resident doctors in Osogbo, the Osun state capital. They also fought the lack of preparedness of government to fight the Ebola virus scourge.
The situation is bad already as doctors and the federal government engage in an industrial face-off. Then the deadly Ebola virus was imported into the country. Many Nigerians were hoping that the need to give the Ebola virus the much-needed attention it deserves will make the government and the doctors quickly resolve their differences. But the result was contrary as the federal government announced the sack of over 16,000 resident doctors in its employment and the suspension of residency program in all hospitals across the federation. Consultants and resident doctors at Lautech Teaching Hospital Osogbo described the federal government's move as an expensive joke and a grand plot to break the ranks of the medical association.
Strike is being constituted by NMA, and NMA as a body is all doctors. And just picking on the resident doctors, we are more proactive when it comes to decision making, and I think maybe it's just to weaken the strike.
April Fool coming up in August. For a government to wake up overnight and say that is sacking 16,000 out of the workforce of doctors.
The doctors went further to say the government's move has reduced the medical profession to the lowest ebb.
A consultant to see special cases, yes. This is not just about treating people for malaria. It's about when I retire or if I'm incapacitated, who will be there to do that specialist job.
Like somebody waking up and say, okay, I want to stop the law school. Once you graduate as a lawyer, you just go to the field. It's like saying, okay, from recruit upwards in the Nigerian Defense Academy, please, you are stopping there. We are not. So what is the purpose of professionalism?
Suspending residency program and resident doctors, according to these medical practitioners, is not unconnected with the leadership tussle experienced in the NMA and other health unions.
You have a family, you are going to have your wife is a master, the husband is a master, and if you have 3 wives or 4 wives, so that means you have 4 masters, including the husband, making 5 masters. Of course, there will be chaos in that house.
We are not against the fact that we want people to climb up the ladder of their profession. Everybody can get to the peak of their profession, but on the other hand, of people wanting to head facilities where doctors should head, and that's where we frown at.
The doctors are asking for improved condition of service.
Our hazard allowance is as low as 5,000. I know of people who will tell you that, is this Ebola? I will rather resign from this job than go and take up Ebola. The strike was even a blessing in disguise, because by today, we will be counting the number of health workers that would have been lost.
A good nation should prepare ahead. It's not when Ebola is now here, we're now talking to, I want to get this kit, I want to get this. No, it should be there. A good government is focused, knows what could happen, what can happen, learn from history of what has happened. But it's a fire brigade approach that we have in this country.
As the struggle rages on between Nigerian doctors and the government, the timely resolution of the dispute will be a great relief for the distressing nation, even now that we have Ebola to contend with. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
Away from there to Nasarawa State, where the House of Assembly has resolved to petition the National Judicial Council over the role played by the State Chief Judge in the failed bid to impeach Governor Tanko Amakura. The legislators want the NJC to investigate the activities of Chief Judge Sulaiman Diko and also moved to punish one of their colleagues. The lawmakers, who sat for the 4th time in Lafia since the impeachment saga began, accused the Chief Judge of partisanship and also suspended Tanko Tunga, a member of the Assembly elected on the platform of the All Progressives Congress.
Right Honorable Speaker, thank you for allowing me to present. We have decided that we should, on the rule of law, make sure we follow the Constitution so that because we have agreed that united the rule of law and due process will follow. And under Part 1, Schedule Section 7, Column 20, the formation of the National Judicial Council, its powers and rule of procedures and business. I own my feet this morning and now to craft the indulgence of this distinguished house to agree with me completely and total that there's need that we should write to the National Judicial Council to investigate the activities of the Chief Judge of Nafra State under the section I've just mentioned, because we discovered a lot of mistakes and lot of lacunas in setting up the panel to investigate the allegation of misconduct of the gross misconduct of the governor during the impeachment saga. If this agree with my distinguished colleagues, without any expediment, without any delay, we should agree in the resolution of the House to make sure we write to the National Judicial Council within 24 hours, so that let them look at the activities of the Chief Judge of Nasarawa State in order to avoid the breakdown of law and order in Nasarawa State.
The mover of the motion, I will come for is by this pronouncement suspended from the House of Assembly for a period of 6 months and 8 years without salary. The House should note that this does not include other allowances of the Honorable Member. This has to do with his statutory salary as enshrined by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission. All other allowances goes, and I so go.
We'll take a break now, and I'll be back with Story Outside Nigeria. Don't go away.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website, www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then News. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. Ukraine has accused pro-Russian rebels of attacking a convoy of fleeing refugees from the city of Lugansk with rocket launchers and mortar guns. Andriy Lyshenko, spokesperson of the Ukrainian Council of National Security and Defense, says the pro-Russian rebels shot at the convoy, which includes women and children, killing many civilians. He accused pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine of killing many civilians trying to leave a conflict-torn area by shelling them with equipment such as ground rocket launchers and mortars provided by Moscow. That wraps it this hour on CoreTV News. I'll be back at the top of the hour with more. Coming up next is Court Digest. Stay with us.